All right, y'all, this week we're back working on my kayak setup. Now, if you've been following along, you know that a few months back, I upgraded from the banana boat, the 2018 Pro Angler 14, to this 2021 Pro Angler 14, and this is the 360 drive edition. So, and since I've gotten it, I've kind of been doing different mods and building this thing up to become what I plan to call the ultimate fishing kayak setup. And we've done everything from a Xi3 motor mount on the front. We installed that. We've got the dual Garmins. We did a video on that. Marine mat, all kind of cool stuff so far, except for a few things. And one of the big things is the stern mount motor. I've been kind of putting that off, trying to figure out the direction that I want to go. And I finally figured it out. Today, I'm happy to tell you guys that we're gonna be installing the Newport Vessels NK300 on the back of this. We've got it here in the shop. We're gonna unbox it today. I'm gonna be pairing it with a couple of really cool items for the install. The other one from Newport is gonna be their new battery. This is their 36 volt, 40 amp hour battery. We're gonna pair it with their new motor. This thing is awesome. It's got a Bluetooth app that you can kind of control the battery or check on it and see how it's doing, check the charge and stuff like that. We'll go over all that and install the app in today's video. And we're gonna do the full install today with Tim Percy's triple mount setup on the back. And I've got both of his steering options. He's got a foot steering system that he offers for these motors and a hand steering system. We're probably gonna install the hand one today, but I am gonna show you guys both of them that he has to offer. So if you're installing one of these on your boat, you know which kind of choices you have. You can go with a foot steer or the hand steer, and I'm excited to get this thing installed. I reached out to these guys and actually spoke to them, and that sealed the deal for me right there. After I got to talk to them, and I could feel their passion for these electric motors that they're making. And if you go to their website, they don't just make kayak trolling motors. They make actual outboard motors that are electric for these. You can put on the back of a John boat and stuff and actually run it around the lake. It is insane, the technology that they're using, that they're incorporating in these motors. Y'all definitely have to go check them out. If you're on the fence on which motor you want to go with for your kayak setup, I highly, highly recommend you check these guys out. After I spoke to them, I locked it in right there. They are the company that I was going to partner with for this build. This is the motor that I wanted on my kayak, and today we're going to unbox it. And another thing that helps me feel good when I buy something from someone is how well they package things, and that's kind of a big deal for me. I went ahead and cut the tape and took a sneak peek in here. Check out how they package their motors. This is, can you guys see that? Let me see if I can tilt it. Look at that. So, mounting brackets, labeled. You know exactly what's in this box. Controller, labeled. You know exactly what's in this box. Installation kit, got the label on it. You know where everything is in this box and exactly, look how well this is packaged. This was shipped to me from, I think, California, and I'm here in Alabama, and there's no damage at all. They package their stuff so well, and that really, I mean, if you want to compare companies that buy stuff, buy something from like wish.com or that Temu and look at the packaging when you get it. It's just completely destroyed. They cram their stuff because they don't care. Companies like this, they stand behind their product and they really do care. So anyway, I'm gonna quit selling to you guys because I'm just kind of excited to be installing this motor on my boat. And another quick thing about this motor, look at the actual specs on this motor, compare it to other motors that are like it, and then look at the prices and you tell me what you think. If, companies may be price gouging out there. I don't know. This motor, for the price and the specs and the quality that you're getting, I don't think there was a better choice out there for me to go with. So anyway, we have got the unboxing underway already because I'm rambling on and pulling stuff out, but here is the controller. Can you guys see all this really well? You unbox it, and I really do love the way their controller is. It's just like kind of like a bass boat setup, how you've got your hand throttle, you push it forward. This is gonna mount on the side of my kayak right here, and we're gonna be able to go forward, reverse, speed the throttle up. It's got a LCD screen on it. It tells you exactly what's going on, what speed you're in. It's even got the magnetic kill switch. Pops right here. And what's really cool is there's not, as you can see, there's not no long wire that we got to run back. They've got quick disconnects at the controller, and I think there's another quick disconnect at the back end so that you don't have this wire hanging off everything if you're wanting to pull this on and off your kayak. So that is very, very nice. That's the controller in that box. I'm gonna start throwing stuff to the side and putting everything on the boat. The mounting bracket. From what I've seen, they've actually upgraded their mounting bracket when they designed this new NK300. How do you get into this box? There it is. Check this mounting bracket out. That is heavy duty stuff right there. That is so well designed. Man, I'm so pumped to be installing this today. This should bolt right on our Tim Percy's triple threat plate. Throw that stuff over there. You got our pins really that go into the side whenever we mount the motor on here. I'm just gonna set this up here. Installation kit. We're gonna save the motor for last down there. Let's see what's inside this installation kit. Clearly labeled so you know exactly what's in the box. You've got your thank you for purchasing thing, everything's in this box, check it out. So you got your manual, you got your little certificate of purchase, all of your cables and pulley systems are right here, and your power cable. Power cable's already got the connector built onto it, and one of the things I really do, and I hadn't mentioned yet, I really do like about this Newport vessel setup is you don't have, if you look at other kayak motors on the market, they have designed their own battery and you can't use any other battery. Have you noticed that? Like these other, you have to use their battery. If something goes wrong with that battery, you can't just go to town and buy another battery or hop on Amazon and buy a battery. You have to buy another exact battery for their motor. Newport vessels isn't like that. This is a 36 volt, which I know that's a big battery, but they do sell those. You can buy a 36 volt battery now. Sounds crazy to say that, but we're at that time where you can get a 36 volt battery. You're gonna see in a minute that's the same size as a regular battery and it's even lightweight. You know, it's a lithium battery, but they design their motors so that you're not tied down to a specific battery, but they do make a really good battery now, and that's the one I wanted to go with, and that's what we're gonna be installing today. So there's the power cable. It's got your hookups for the battery on one end. This end's got, looks like kind of like an Anderson style plug. Kind of like it. It's even got the Newport logo on the plug right there. How cool is that? All right, I'm gonna set that there. We got our cables, pulley system, all that cool stuff right there. Now let's see what this motor looks like. Throw all our cardboard out. And if you hear a little hum in the background, it's really hot outside today, guys, and I've got my AC. I got it on quiet mode, but you're probably still gonna hear it. All right, I've been waiting. I've had this thing in the shop for 2 days now, waiting to film this video so that I could actually unbox it. Here it is. The NK300 by Newport Vessels. It's even got a green prop on here, which kind of follows the theme of my kayak, don't it? It's a different shade green, but it's not gonna look bad at all. Man, that thing is solid. Look at the size of the base of this motor. Wow. This is a lot different than other motors that I've installed here on the channel. It just feels solid. Check that out. And it's not that heavy. I mean, it looks really big, but it's not that heavy. Man, this is nice. But yeah, see, here's their plug. And that's what I was saying, everything is quick detach. So they got quick detach plugs here. This is where you hook up your carabiner. You got your steering system already built on here. So that is gonna be great. Oh man, all right, let's set this thing to the side because now I wanna show you guys the battery that we're gonna be installing with this. All right, here is the battery that we're going with. This is Newport Vessel's brand new lithium battery. I think they just released these this year. Matter of fact, it might've been an iCast or just before iCast maybe. I can't remember, but this is what it looks like when you get it. Again, their packaging, I went ahead and peeked in here to see how it looked. Absolutely perfect. As soon as you open it, you get your purchase or your manual right there. It's got some information on the battery on the front. It's got a little service card. You take your foam off, and look at this packaging. Look at that. That is a 36 volt, 40, can you see that? Yeah, you can. 36 volt, 40 amp hour battery. That's it right there. How cool is that? So let me set this to the side, because not only is the battery in this box, but it comes with a charger. It comes with a lithium 36 volt charger, so you can keep this battery charged. You don't have to run out on Amazon or go somewhere and try to find a 36 volt battery charger. It actually comes with one. Let's see, this is just product, just paperwork for the charger. Here's your plug for it. And then we got a little slot right here. Looks like the bolts and stuff for the top of your battery. And I think that is it, but look how well packaged this is. Can y'all see inside there? This is solid. I might even be able to use this later on in the front hatch, because I'm planning on relocating my Dakota Lithium for my Xi3. Throw that over there to the front. I'm gonna try to keep the balance down pretty good, since we're gonna have this Newport battery on the back for the stern motor. I think we're gonna relocate the Dakota Lithium 100 amp hour to the front hatch. That'll get it a little bit closer to the Xi3 and maybe balance us out a little bit. Let me set this charger over here to the side. And I told you guys it was hot outside just a second ago, but now I hear thunder. It has been storming here in Alabama for like a month straight, every single day. I could hear my dog scratching on the door already. My chihuahuas, they freak out every time it storms, but check this out. 36 volt, 40 amp hour battery. Let's see if I can go over some specs. It's got 1,440 watt hours, lithium iron phosphate, ABS sealed. So it is sealed, so you can actually mount this in any orientation that you want. Those sealed batteries are great for that. And the weight on this battery, if you were wondering, is 28.2 pounds. So this battery weighs less than a regular 12 volt lead acid battery. It's gonna go great. And I really like that it's the same size, because I've got this battery holder back here in the back, this battery box that the Dakota Lithium battery's in. We're just gonna swap them out. This should drop right down inside that same battery box. So that's gonna work out great. All right, so let me set everything up, and we're gonna start mounting some stuff. I guess I could go ahead. Let me show you the Tim Percy stuff really quick. Then we're just gonna get into the install. So I'm gonna have his stuff linked down below too. I did a lot of research, and I was gonna try to design my own steering system that correlated with my rudder control here on the kayak. And I started designing it and started looking stuff up, and then I talked to a buddy of mine, and they were like, hey, I think somebody makes something like that. Check out Tim Percy. So I looked him up on YouTube, and sure enough, he already has one designed. So I reached out to him, and he also designs foot control steering. I've got one of those here. I think we're gonna go with the hand steering, but what's really cool about his design is it's gonna mount right here where my rudder control is on my kayak. It's gonna replace this altogether. So it's got its own handle. So I'm gonna be able to turn my rudders and the motor at the same time. So this is gonna be super efficient. I've seen some videos already where guys are running this with the Newport vessels. I think they're 180, they're smaller motor, and you can just do donuts in the water. I mean, the turning radius is insane. With this 300 though, this is a big motor. I might not want to turn that sharp. It might sling me out of this boat, because this thing, you've seen that clip, it's got some power behind it. So anyway, we're gonna go with his steering system on the install today. It mounts right here. It's got 2 cables. There's no drilling required of the kayak. Everything is ran externally. I do have his foot steering stuff, and maybe I'm gonna keep this in the bag, because we might end up installing this foot steering system on the banana boat, my wife's Hobie Pro Angler 14, because I do eventually plan on putting her a motor on the back of that, and I think she would like to have the foot steering. I've installed foot steering on several boats here on the channel. If you haven't seen any of those, make sure you go check them out. You go to my homepage, hit that subscribe button while you're there. And then we're gonna be installing this bad boy right here. This is his triple threat motor mount, and this is for the Hobie Pro Angler 14 and the 12. And they call it a triple threat because you mount your motor in the middle, and then it's got these 2 kickoffs on the side where you can mount your power poles, you know, your kayak power poles that go up and down. You can mount 2 of them on here if you want to. I might add some of those later. I don't fish a whole lot of shallow water where I'm at, so we'll see. I went with this one because if I do want that option, I don't have to remove all of this and go back and add it later. I'll have the mount spot here for it already. So we're gonna pair that today with the Newport NK300 and his hand steering. So let's get into the install, because I got a lot of stuff to take off the back of this boat now and kind of get it prepped up and start installing this thing. I don't know how I'm gonna do this with you guys yet. I might film it step by step, or I might just do kind of a montage and kind of stop the camera and go over highlights if there's anything I need to show you. But yeah, let's get this. I'm excited. I want to get this thing installed right now, so let's do it. All right, so I got everything installed. It's actually a few days later. I did film most of it, so I'm gonna overlay that as I walk you guys through this install today. But I didn't think you guys would want to see me over the last couple of days filming me move stuff from one side of the kayak to the other. I'm really OCD and picky about how things function together and how things look. So I spent hours out here just staring at the kayak and moving stuff back and forth, climbing on and off, trying to figure out exactly where I wanted everything. But I think I've got it exactly how I want it. I rigged some stuff up on the side. I'll show you how I've done it in just a minute. For the reverse handle and for the stow handle, I've got them all on one side, kind of tucked away, but they're very functional where they're at. And yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk you guys from the front of the kayak all the way to the back, kind of show you how I relocated the Dakota Lithium battery for the Xi3, all the way to the throttle mount, where I've got the Tim Percy steering system set up, how I ran those wires, all the way back to the Newport motor we got installed, and that thing's pretty sweet. I can't wait to show you. So let me start at the front. I'm gonna work my way back with you guys. All right, so I've got the Xi3 kind of half deployed so I can open this hatch up, but this is where I decided to move the Dakota Lithium battery for the Xi3. And as you can tell, I've got a strap around it, and I did cut a little slit on both sides. You can kind of see it in the very bottom there. And I've got a slit on the other side where I could wrap this strap around the battery and kind of lock it into place. And I did end up using that foam that the Newport battery was shipped in to kind of cradle the battery in there. And it worked out really good. I ran the wires through, and it should even out the weight, you know, the weight distribution for the motor and the battery on one end and a motor and battery on the other end of the kayak. So it's kind of tucked away in there. It should be in a good spot. Then we're gonna move on back to the throttle. I'll go ahead and show you guys that. So here is how the throttle ended up being mounted. I ended up going with one of these little Hobie H-rail clamps that I had. I used to have a little ram ball mounted to this, and I would hook my phone to it while I was on the boat. Well, I took the ram ball off and ended up bolting it straight to the bottom of this. This may be changed in the future because I'm currently in talks with Catch, you know, the guys that make these awesome bump boards. They've also started making a whole lot more products, and they've got some really cool H-rail attachments that they're coming out with. And one of them is like this plate, and it's all aluminum stuff, and it's a plate that I think I'm gonna be able to mount to my H-rail and relocate this to that plate. But whenever I get that stuff in, I'm gonna make a video and kind of show you guys that. But that is the throttle for the NK300. As you can see, when you push it forward, I got it on already. It shows you the percentage of the throttle you've given it and how many watts you're pulling and how many volts you've got left in the battery. And then these little dots up here are the indicators. Can you see that? Yeah, kinda. Those are the indicators for how much battery life is actually left. And I've got the app downloaded too, and I'll show you that, you know, here in a minute for the battery. The app is awesome for that new battery they got. But that is the throttle. It's got the kill switch right here. You hook to your arm or you know, clip it to you somewhere. So if you do fall out of the boat or something happens when you're going down the river, this pulls and it automatically disconnects the battery, shuts everything down, and you're good to go. Throw it back on there, and you're ready to start running the motor again. All right, so here is the Tim Percy's Hobie steering setup. Now this is the hand steering. Like I told you earlier, I do have the foot steering. It's in the bag in there. We'll probably install that on the other boat, so y'all stay tuned for that video. If you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed, because I'm gonna do probably another motor install along with that, and maybe do it a little bit different on the other boat. So this is the hand steering. Now he offers a lot of different stuff. He don't just have Hobie stuff on his website, so I will have his website linked in the video description down there next to the Newport Vessels link, so y'all go check those out. go to his website. If you've got a different boat besides a Hobie, go in there and see if he's got some stuff for your boat. If not, you can always reach out to him. He designs and makes all of his own stuff. And this thing is gonna be awesome. So the way it works is I completely replaced my steering handle with this throttle handle here, and it just dropped right on. You do have to have that riser already on your kayak. You know, the little riser you get, it comes with a longer bolt. You've got to have that longer bolt for this to work with it. But I already had the riser on here, so it worked out great. You literally just unscrew one Phillips head bolt, take it off, slide this down on there, and then you've got your two cable systems right here. These two cables don't run inside your kayak. They're really easy to install. You just got these two little wing nuts on this plate here. You hook this plate about 6 inches behind your handle here so that you got room to turn. And as you can see, when I turn, I have to get a wider angle for you guys in a minute, but you see how the motor's turning? And see if I can get the rudder shot down there too. Probably can't see the rudder, can you? You can kind of see it. I'll get a further shot in just a minute so you guys can see, but the motor turns at the same time that I'm turning this handle back and forth. So it is gonna be perfect for steering this kayak. The cable is kind of just, kind of almost like a bicycle brake cable. If you ever mess with like brake cables on a bicycle or a throttle cable, it's the same exact setup. It's one continuous cable, it's not two. So the cable actually runs around the front of the steering system. You lock it in with these little set screws here. It goes through here. You cut this sheathing to length. You know, it comes longer and you cut it to however you do your setup. The way I've got it ran is it runs down through here, and then I kind of hid all of my power cables and stuff together all the way back here where they run up, and then I've got everything on top of my triple threat mount straight back here to the kayak. And then the steering system has another block right here. And this, I painted my Newport logo. Can you see it? Kind of matches the kayak, but it goes through here to the same kind of block that you've got on the front, and then the cables come back out, and one goes to one side of your motor, the other goes to the other side. So when you turn it, it actually pulls and pushes on both sides, or pulls one side and releases the other side. So that is how the steering system works. There's, as I said, there's no holes to be drilled into the kayak. All I did was kind of zip tie everything together and lock it down. And it's a really clean look. If you step back, you can kind of tell that it's not this crazy contraption that, you know, I was kind of worried that I was gonna have these cables everywhere and it was gonna look crazy and things were gonna get in the way. That is very sleek. I mean, it just disappears to your eyes. If you do it right and install it right, everything works good and it hides really well. So anyway, that is the Tim Percy Hobie hand steering setup. Check it out. Check out his other setups. If you've got a different boat, like I said, see if he's got stuff for your kayak. If not, just reach out to him. I'm sure he can make you whatever you need. Moving on back to the triple threat plate. This is the triple threat by Tim Percy. Same thing on his website. He's got a couple of different designs of this. It installed very easy. I've got it where it just kind of, it clamps here with his built-in clamps. And then you got your two bolts right here, or two screws, I should say, where you remove your cover for your rudder control or your rudder drive system that's up under here. You just take that cover off and use the same two screws. They drop down in there and it locks it on. Now, I did do some customization to this. I did change it up, like I said. Over here on each side, there's supposed to be spots, where there are spots where there's holes, and this is where I showed you earlier that you can mount the power poles for kayaks. What I did was I plugged all the holes. I've got these little plastic plugs that I use, you know, when you plug holes like right here on the side, they just pop in. You can get them on Amazon. But I plugged all the holes, and I actually used, if these look familiar to you guys, those are the anchor trolley system that was actually right here. This was on the side of my kayak. If you look back at the beginning of the video, you can see where I removed that anchor trolley system. I really don't use it since I've got the spot lock now. So the thing about I'll go ahead and tell you why I did it like this. The way this motor works is you've got one cable that you pull that stows the motor. It actually pulls a pulley system and it kicks the motor up, and I'll set the camera up and show you that in just a minute. And then you've got another cable that comes back here, and if you see that little gear there, or that little I say gear, it's like a little lever. When I pull this, it pulls it down and locks it on. And that is how reverse works. So these are designed, if you hit something, you know, and you're running, they can kick up. They're free. They're not locked into position. So if you're running along and you hit something, it will actually bounce over top of it without damaging the motor. But if you need to go in reverse, if you put it in reverse, it would just want to kick up out of the water and you wouldn't be able to, you know, actually use reverse if you needed it. And that's why they incorporated that little lever back there. See how you got this little, see if it says reverse on it. There you go. You can kind of see it. But this is one handle, and what happens when you pull it, I don't think you can see it, but when you pull it, it locks in that reverse. And all it does is hold the motor in place so that you can go backwards without the motor kicking up. And you just hold that, you know, while you're going backwards, and then when you're done, you just let go of it and it releases the motor so it's free to kick up again. And the way I ran these was I used both of my little pulleys. I had one on the front of the kayak here, one on the back and one on the front, and I took them off and I used the same bolt locations that were already on here, so I didn't drill any extra holes. And I just wanted to do this so that it got I didn't want these two cords coming straight over top of all of my gear and kind of, you know, getting in the way, and I didn't like the way that was gonna look. So what I did was I added the pulleys to one side of this board, and now when I pull, let's see if I can do it with one hand while I hold the camera. The other handle here says lift on it. It's hard to tell in this lighting. There you go, you can kind of see it. So this is lift, and the red one is reverse, but when I pull the lift handle, if I don't smack my workbench with it, oh, I got it locked, don't I? Hold on. There we go. I had it locked into place. So when you lift it, oh crap, and I turned it on at the same time. I got a mess going here, hold on. I'm trying to do this with one hand holding the camera and I keep bumping everything. But I can pull this all the way up and stow the motor. And the way I got it set up here is when I pull this cord up, I'll put a carabiner on here. This is a locking carabiner. It comes with the kit. And when I pull this, I'm gonna be able to pull it to this length right here. I know this is horrible camera work. And then I'm gonna be able to hook that carabiner right here, and it will fully stow the motor. And I'll set the tripod up and actually show you guys from a distance, because I know this one-handed camera stuff ain't cutting it. But anyway, I ran both cords down one side of the kayak. It's a lot cleaner that way. I originally, when I first started doing it, I had the reverse on one side of the seat and the lift on the other side of the seat. Well, that kind of, when you do that, it kills any opportunity for you to use one side, because you don't want nothing hindering these while you're out on the water. And I like to stow at least one of my paddles on the side of my boat. And by doing both of them on one side, I was able to stick my paddle back on this side and, you know, actually have use for that side of the kayak. Now I've got this side that's gonna run both of these, and it worked out really good. Now we get back here to the motor mount, and you can see that it literally just bolts right on. There's no issues with that. It's the easiest motor install that I think you can ever do. This triple plate mount, the holes are drilled in the exact place for it, so you can just mount the mount on, you drop the motor on, you put your pin in, and you're good to go. Got the 36 volt 40 amp hour battery in this battery box right here. The quick disconnect is perfect because I can just grab this, pull it, and when I'm, you know, hauling or storing my kayak at the house, I'm always gonna keep these pulled apart, and that way I know there's no power running to anything. It shuts everything down. And as you can see, I've got no power on the screen up here anymore, and it just protects it. And even when I charge it, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna make sure that everything's unplugged from the battery, and I'll just be able to come out here, throw the battery charger on it. I don't have to pull the battery in and out. You know, everything can stay right there on the kayak. So while we're on the subject of the battery, I do want to show you guys the app that you download. So if you purchase one of these new batteries from Newport Vessels, you can go on the website after you get the battery and download their app. And it'll look like, let's see if I can show it to you on my phone. It'll look like this guy right here. And then when you open it up, it'll pull up your battery, and I've got one, and I'm trying to do this behind the camera. Maybe it'll do it for me, come on. There we go. So it actually pulls up the battery that you have nearby, like it's Bluetooth. So since I was standing beside this battery, it pulled it up. I was able to open it up, and I'll try to show you guys on the screen if it don't overexpose it. So it shows you the, let's see if I can read it with you. It shows you the rated capacity, the voltage that's currently in there, the current amp draw. Right now the motor's not running, so it's 0, and I'll turn the motor on in just a minute and show you how it actually changes in live view and how many cycle times this thing's had. So it's a brand new battery, therefore it's only had 1 cycle time. You know, that means, I think a cycle is when you drain it or use it a little bit and you fully charge it. I've only fully charged this battery 1 time, so that's the only cycle that it's got on there. So now let me show you. I'm gonna turn the motor on. And right now, let's see, you can see that the current draw right now is 0. Let me kick it up. Oh, I've got it off. It works better if I turn it on. Let's see. Turn it on. All right, I'm gonna run it kind of wide open for just a second. And you'll actually be able to see the battery fluctuate. There it goes, it caught up. So it shows you how much current you're actually using, and it's just a live view of the status of your battery. Not to mention it shows your temperatures down below. So if it's really hot outside or your battery where you've got it stored is overheating, it'll show you the temperatures and keep up and kind of keep you updated on the life of the battery. So if you have any issues, you can kind of refer back to your app. Like if you're having problems and you don't know if it's your motor or if your battery's going bad or if you've got a bad connection, you can quickly open up this app and check the status of your battery, and it'll be able to tell you if it's your battery, you'll know by checking the app. But if it's not your battery and your battery's good, you'll know that, you'll be able to check the app and it'll tell you that it's good. So anyway, very cool idea, very cool design for this. And it's Bluetooth. It's not like you got to have a Wi-Fi service or, a signal. If you're somewhere fishing and you're having issues or something happens, even if you don't have cell phone service, this is Bluetooth. It's still just going to Bluetooth to the battery and give you all the information right there. So that's pretty cool. All right, so really quick, before I end the video, I told you guys I would show you how it looks from like a seated position, how it operates. And this is what took so long for me to do the install, because I'm so picky. I went back and forth climbing in and out of this boat for the last couple of days, trying to figure out exactly where I wanted it. I wanted to make sure my throttle was at an easy reach, but I also didn't want it in the way for fishing. I wanted to be able to get to the reverse and the stow, but I didn't want them up here in the way of fishing. So I think I figured out everything. My turning radius is gonna be perfect because it's in the actual same exact spot as my rudder control was, so I'm already used to being able to steer the kayak from right here, so that worked out great. Throttle position's right in front of it. And then right here is where I've got my reverse I just showed you. When I want to go backwards, I can just hit reverse. I'll start the motor and I'll lock it into place, and that'll keep the motor from kicking up, and I'll just be able to hold this there. Once I guide it back out where I'm going, I stop the motor, I let off, and it will drop the actual clip back down so that the motor's free. And then the stowing. So when I want to stow it, I grab the blue one, and I'm glad these are color coded, because if I'm fishing and I just need to do it really quick, I can quickly look down, see which one I need to grab and pull it. But when you say I want to stow it, if I'm backing this boat in the water or I'm hauling it down the highway, I don't want the motor down to, just to risk damaging it. So I can pull this all the way up. Let me make sure my carabiner's open. I pull it all the way up and then lock it in place. Now the motor, hopefully you guys can see that and it's in frame, but now the motor is stowed up. And what you can also do with this is you can actually put multiple carabiners in the cord here, and say you're in a shallow area and you want to use the trolling motor, but it's too deep, it'll hit the bottom. You can have these set to where you pull it up and it just barely kicks it up. Then you can strap it down, lock it down in that position, and ride around with it where it's just barely chopping the water, and you can slowly go through these really shallow areas. So that's a really cool function of this thing. Really well thought out and designed by Newport. I like the way it works. I also like the way I've got everything kind of located in one area, down one side of the kayak, where nothing else is in the way. I didn't have to add anything to this side. Nothing is in front of me. Everything is kind of located in one spot. So I'm really, really happy with this thing. So before I end this video, I do want to address some comments that I know I'm going to get and some questions I know I'm going to get after I upload this video. And that's why I have two motors, why I have a stern mount and a bow mount. I thought you really loved your Xi3. I really do, and I'm gonna make a full video on that. I'm actually gonna film that video this weekend now that the installation is done. So the next video will be me testing out this Newport Vessels NK300. We're gonna do a speed test, a turning radius test using the Tim Percy hand steering that we installed today. And I'll go over that with you. If there's any changes that I need to make, you'll know because I'm gonna film it, out on the water. I might even go live here on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit that bell button so you get notified, so you get notified whenever I do go live or I do upload a new video. But because I think I might go live with you guys. Today's Friday, I'm gonna film the next video for next week. I'm gonna film it tomorrow. So maybe I'll go live tomorrow. Y'all stay tuned for that. And like I said, we'll do a speed test, a turning radius test, but I also wanna hit on those things in that video of the differences between a stern mount versus a bow mount, because there are differences. You don't want to run long distances with the Xi3. It's not designed to do that. That is designed for fishing. It is great in the world that it lives in the fishing world. It's designed for spot locking and trolling around docks and maneuvering. It is not designed for me to put in, which, trust me, I know from experience, if you're gonna run 4 miles up a river, it's not designed to turn on high and just lock into position and go, because they will overheat. They're not designed for that. These are designed for commuting. These are designed to turn on high, lock it in, and run 4 or 5 miles up the river. That's what these are made for, but I'm gonna go over all that in the next video. I'm gonna show you the differences on the water, and we'll compare both of these. We'll use both of them, see what kind of speed we can get. I'm kind of curious to see if I put this one down in the water and turn it on high for a few minutes, turn this one on high, aim on both straight, see how fast we can actually get this kayak to go down the river. I'm curious. So y'all stay tuned for that video. If you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Go check out my homepage. I got a ton of videos like this. I've been filming content about kayaks and doing these mods and installs for years now. So y'all check me out, share the video, help support the channel. If you want to become a member or buy some merch, I got these cool t-shirts. I got some really cool sweatshirts on the website. Everything's linked below this video. So y'all go check it out, and I will catch you next Monday at 6 o'clock. Peace.